That sound means we have another Game for a Movie podcast. It's episode 24. We have been off for a little bit, but mostly because theaters have also been off for a little bit.
Oh, is that? Yeah. So I've been gone since like March.
Okay,
have I missed anything?
Yes, you've obviously lived under a rock.
Have you guys seen this thing called Tiger King? I mean, oh my god, just so blown away.
It was like 20 years ago.
I can't wait to talk about that for the first time today.
Oh, dude, we talked about Tiger King 2 episodes ago.
Look, man, it's been a long year.
That's true. It has been a long March. We're still in March, right?
Yeah, what?
Yep. I'm so excited to watch Tenet in theaters. It's going to be great.
Oh,
yeah, remember when we went to see Dolittle? It was like 2 weeks ago. It was great.
God damn it.
Yeah, the last movie I saw was Cats in theaters, so yeah, it's been real great.
Mine was Onward, so I think I win.
You win.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is Parasite.
We managed to go
Parasite.
out on Parasite.
Ooh, no, Parasite wins.
Parasite wins. But I am your host, Mike. I am joined by Andre and Jill virtually.
Hello.
Hello.
And I'm joined by Mitchell in person, which kind of caught me off guard because I was like, oh, Mitchell's here.
Hey, you know what? I'm just like, I haven't seen my boy Mike since Thursday, so I may as well roll up and say hi.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate it. I'm glad to have you.
Uh-huh.
We're going to be talking about some movies. We're also going to be talking about some beers. Mitchell and I are enjoying some Black Hog Brewing, the Oktoberfest or Fest beer.
Very tasty.
Andre, what are you drinking there?
I am drinking the old reliable Big Cranky from Stony Creek.
Big Cranky, good call. And
Yeah.
Jill, what are you drinking? Is it your tea of the day?
It is my tea of the day.
Yes.
It is Earl Grey Moonlight from Adagio Teas with a little bit of honey into it.
I love
Needs
Earl
some
Grey.
caffeine.
I love Earl Grey tea.
You
I'm
can't
all
go
over
wrong
it.
with that.
No.
You know? You really
What's the
can't.
APV on that tea?
At APV, it's kind of low. I think it's like a 4.
Oh,
But
okay.
this would taste really good if infused with gin.
Ooh,
yeah,
there you
that's
go.
a good call. We have to get on that later.
So Jill's
Okay.
going to have the best vocal performance out of anyone on this podcast. You know,
Yes.
she's got the tea going. Everyone else is putting alcohol in their system. She's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep it warm. Going to keep it nice for my body. And I'm very excited for her review in particular.
I mean, like, I can't even say anything. I drank a Coca-Cola today. That's basically been my day, is like, I've just shot my voice in general. It's going to be great. So we are going to take it to you guys first, remotely. So you guys have been watching something during the pandemic, and I just want your opinions on what you have seen so far about it. Get excited, everybody at home listening. That is a tease.
Okay.
Keep going.
Sick.
All right. Well, so welcome to the Fast and Furious halfway retrospective, I guess.
Vroom,
Yeah, I was
vroom.
gonna for it.
I should know that the reason that this retrospective is possible is thanks to our good friend Mike for lending us his Blu-ray DVD collection. So,
Yes.
We could not be here without you.
God, I totally
Yeah.
forgot I still have that. Jesus.
Yeah, well, you
We
don't
have it
still-
now.
Well, yeah. Well,
on our TV console right now.
I still have it
watching
digitally.
quality.
I still have it digitally.
Any special features? You know what? Just
Yeah,
occurred to
true.
me.
All right, sounds like a date night to me. Getting all those special features.
Anyway, it's a halfway retrospective.
Right, and so we should note we are halfway through ish. We have watched The Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift, Fast and Furious, and Fast 5.
Okay.
The most complicated naming order ever. Okay, cool. So we have watched through Fast 5.
You also missed one in there that is not in order, but you definitely have seen.
Oh, yes, we
Terry,
have seen
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yes.
But that I feel like I need to treat that as like a separate film because
Agreed.
So different.
we have just met Hobbs. We've just met Hobbs in Fast and Furious.
All of his sweaty glory.
Yeah, wow, I did not realize The Rock. They made him very sweaty. Like
We'll
it's
get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, right.
He's got to be a shiny rock.
Very
Yeah, it's a
shiny.
very shiny rock.
A little too shiny.
Yeah, just distractingly shiny. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know. This is the franchise about cars driving fast, and I think the first movie epitomizes the racing aspect of the series the best. I would say. Right?
Yes.
Simultaneously the most grounded. Introduces us to our main characters.
I live
and-
my life a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah.
Family.
It's all about
Corona. Amelia.
That's true. They do
Yeah.
drink a lot of Corona.
It's a ton, man.
Yeah.
The product placement in these movies, it's up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's aggressive.
I feel like it's one of those movies that just needs product placement, though. Like,
Yeah, it's not a Michael Bay movie, but
Yeah.
it's definitely Michael Bay inspired.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep
Yeah.
going.
Oh no.
Yeah. So yeah, the first movie introduces us to our core characters. We meet Paul Walker's Brian, whose name I definitely forgot after a period of time.
I almost just called him Brian Walker.
Paul Walker as Brian, and we have Vin Diesel as Dom Toretto.
Okay.
And it's all about street racing.
Yes.
And they do a pretty good job with that. There are some questionable acting moments. I would say Paul Walker does not really come into his own as an actor until at least arguably the fourth one. They also don't know how to dress the man.
Yeah.
No, they do not know how to dress him.
I would stipulate that Vin Diesel is much better dressed than, so it's not just a matter.
And a better actor.
Yes, no, that's true too. You're
Wow,
right.
Vin Diesel a better actor. Like, I don't usually hear
I'll
that.
say Vin Diesel, you know, you hear this a lot, but some people are born to play certain roles, and I
Right.
think Dom is definitely that role for Vin.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes,
He fits that
absolutely.
character like a glove.
Well, having seen Bloodshot or whatever it is, I don't know if I'd necessarily still say that Vin Diesel's the better actor. But,
So I remember looking this up, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Vin Diesel's like roles as a character were Saving Private Ryan.
mm-hmm.
Then he goes into the Iron Giant.
Yep.
Right, that was
Sorry that I didn't look this up. And I think Fast and the Furious is probably like his next film or the second film after that. Like,
The only question I have is, when did Riddick come into play?
Right, so I think Riddick was after, because I thought he didn't come back on for the sequel because he was doing Riddick.
so
Yeah,
there's
okay.
two. So it's Saving Private. So there's actually a few films before Saving Private Ryan. He did some smaller things. So Saving Private Ryan, The
Yep.
Iron Giant,
Okay.
Boiler Room, Pitch Black, which is
Pitch Black is Riddick. Yeah, the first
and
of them.
And then Fast and the Furious. So even then, in 2001, when he only has a few films under his belt, he is still by far the best actor in the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun ride, you know, especially considering it's the first, and at the time, no one expected it to become anything.
Yeah,
You know, it's good for what it is.
we're 9 movies deep now. Who knew that was going to happen
I-
film 1?
Right.
Where it all started with them trying to steal DVD players.
God damn,
Yeah.
that was the point?
That was it.
That's
Oh,
the
man.
plot of the.
Yeah,
They're trying to bust a DVD player stealing ring.
Okay, friends, we got it now. We're rehashing this. We're recreating it. They're stealing Blu-ray players now.
There it is.
Hell yeah.
They wouldn't even be stealing Blu-ray players. They'd be stealing like Switches or
PS5s?
PS5s, damn it.
All 40 that were created?
I am in the market for stealing a PS5.
Let's do it.
Well, Dom Toretto and the family, they'll come get it for you.
You son of a bitch. I'm in. Heist movie. Let's go.
So, I mean, I don't know how much there is to say about Fast 1 that hasn't already been said. It's fun for what it is. There is a shockingly, like, despite how silly that what they're doing, they're trying to steal DVD players, the car cinematography is rather cool. There's a really good, I don't want to go down because it's not like guns or anything like that. There's a good car chase right at the end.
Right.
With them and
The ending is probably my favorite part of that movie.
yeah.
I'm surprised how much, like, yes, there's some things that definitely don't hold up, but I'm surprised how much that movie has held up. Like, you can still watch it today and be happy.
Yeah, yeah, and I like the kind of the question was not the right word, but the cliffhanger. It's a good cliffhanger, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know, spoilers, I guess, for a nearly 20-year-old movie now at this point. But like, yeah, like Brian lets Dom go, and it's kind of ambiguous. Like, okay, what's going to happen? Is he going to get arrested? You know, yeah.
And then we follow that up with, of course, Too Fast, Too Furious.
So I have a thing about this one. So when I was in my last year living with some roommates I had in grad school, we actually watched the first 2 Fast and the Furious films, and we watched Too Fast, Too Furious. And at the time, I thought that movie was the most hilarious thing ever. I really liked the introduction of Tyrese as Roman,
Right.
who's Paul Walker's friend. I thought he was just like this great manic energy, and this movie's so funny, ha 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 ha. Upon rewatch, Tyrese is still hilarious, but I think he's the only person who's like, I'm just gonna have a fucking good time with this.
Yeah.
The
That's
villain
fair.
is laughable. He's a drug
Dude,
kingpin.
oh god, it's so bad.
Yeah.
So,
So the
like-
plot. So yeah, take us through the plot, Andre.
Well, so basically, the biggest problem, so Too Fast and Furious is already starting behind the 8 ball because Vin Diesel did not return. So Dom is not in this movie, nowhere to be found. It's mainly, so that just means that Paul Walker's Brian gets way more screen time, and as we alluded to before, he's not the best actor, and he's totally serviceable as the main character, but he's not the reason I would watch those early films, at least.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
And Jill's right, Tyrese, like, so quickly, like, Tyrese becomes, it's like a buddy cop movie, almost, like, they're trying, they changed it from, like, a movie about street racing to super secret agents that have to street race to keep their cover.
Undercover cops.
Undercover cops to street race to keep their cover, and it's immediately much more silly, but not in, like, a fun way, like, it's just, I don't know. These movies kind of ratchet up the ridiculousness, and I think that it ends up being, more fun in a different way. I would say that that's not the case with Too Fast, Too Furious, because it's just silly, and... I mean,
you haven't even brought up the rat torture scene, so...
Oh my god, yeah, so the main bad guy is this drug mogul, and... oh my god. So basically, they work with the border security to try to get this guy arrested, and... his whole intimidation tactic is that he has dirty cops working for him, and one of them is about to flip. He's like, "Oh, I don't know about this," and like, but they hold him down at the bar, and he's like, "I have a bunch of rats that I don't feed ever so that makes them super desperate."
And rat.
And then
It's a rat.
And then we heat up the bucket that it's under.
Yeah.
Claws way out.
Put the rat on your belly, and then heat the bucket up, and then it's gonna scratch its way through your insides, and it's like you can tell they're trying to go for something that's like, whoa, this is super gruesome. This guy's fucked up.
I fail to see the problem.
It's okay. This guy is rats. Like, wow, neat. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would say as an intimidating villain, kind of an eye roll. He's chewing the scenery. Like, towards the end of the film, he's on a yacht waving an AK-47 around.
Yeah.
That's true.
My kind of dude.
Yeah, I would say the magic did not... The lightning bolt did not strike twice here.
It did not.
Fast and Furious. It needed Vin Diesel. They didn't really... With the exception of a few passing lines, there is no other members of the family that we saw in the first one. I do appreciate the constant joke to Paul Walker's character about, like, don't sleep with the bait.
Yes,
yeah.
Right. That was kind of a nice little continuation. But yeah, I mean, like, so Tyrese is fun in this movie, but he's no Vin, like...
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised. I was kind of surprised how much I enjoyed his return in Fast 5, but...
we'll get to that after...
We'll get there. I will say that of the Fast and the Furious films, this is the only one whose director was not invited to come back.
Okay, that's fair.
John Woo, who
Too Fast, Too Furious, a big stinker, but not only it's a very controversial take.
I'll be honest, I love Too Fast, Too Furious, so it is a controversial take to me. Because literally, I don't know what it is about this movie. It's like the perfect nostalgia trip for me, I guess.
Okay.
It's one of those I saw in theaters, I loved it, and it hasn't gone down for me, even though I know it's terrible.
In theaters, this movie would have been fun. Now I wonder, do you like Mission Impossible 2?
I do not like Mission Impossible 2.
Is very similar.
Yes, I honestly feel like I would put Too Fast, Too Furious and Mission Impossible 2 in similar tiers of sequels that jump the shark in not a good way.
I can see what you're saying there, but I don't care for Mission Impossible 2. That's the one I've gone back to the least, and it's unnecessary, it feels like. I do love the John Woo pigeon shot, though, which is used several times in Mission Impossible 2.
Holy moly, yeah.
Might have gone the wrong director for Fast and the Furious 2, because I know Mission Impossible 2 is John Woo.
That is definitely John Woo, yes.
It's John Singleton.
Let me correct myself right
now. Mitchell says John Singleton.
John Singleton, yeah, most famous for Boys in the Hood. But definitely...
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, so he's definitely one of those groundbreaking black writers and directors. But I wouldn't...
that guy!
Yes, so I wouldn't say that action movies were his forte.
Right.
And I think this was him dipping his toes in it a little.
Yeah.
But everything else, if you look at this guy's IMDb, R.I.P. by the way, really good stuff, up and down, including television work.
Oh shit, he did.
I'm shocked if there was a decent amount of studio interference on this one then too.
Yeah, I can see that.
You can edit me out saying that John Woo did Fast and Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious.
I'll say yes, I edited it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's agree you did that.
Yeah.
So,
3.
those two.
Also agree that Tokyo Drift is the most underrated
Yeah, I
Fast
was
and
gonna
Oh
say,
my
the
God.
Jesus. Here we go.
surprising dark horse here is the one that has nothing to do with the other two, with the first
Right.
two films.
So I was going to this
Han.
movie like so
You
we
got Han.
finished Too Fast and Furious, and everyone tells me that Tokyo Drift is really bad, and I'm like, God, we just finished Too Fast and Furious. We got to watch Tokyo Drift now. Like, God, man, this is gonna suck.
It's Tokyo Drift.
Maybe it was that lower expectations that helped a lot, but I had a lot of fun with that movie. Like,
So I feel like, was Tokyo Drift released like years after Too Fast, Too
Okay.
Furious?
No, I don't think it was a lot of time after. Hold on, I have the list.
yeah,
I was gonna say, I feel like it was like 2 years, so it kind of
It's
had like
3 years difference.
3 years
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
But think about it might have been released 3 years after, but it probably went into production at like a year and a half because that
Right.
movie has far more CGI, or not CGI, but it has far more green screen effects. They traveled, I think, to Tokyo, so they had to go there.
Well, my thing was more so like you guys are saying that it was better than Too Fast, Too Furious. I'm wondering if it was released earlier, would it have done better?
Okay, fair enough.
That is good. If that had been the second one, just jump it to be in an anthology series, if you will.
Yeah. Or well, really, or just after Too Fast, Too Furious was released, you give that 3-year gap, everybody forgets how bad Too Fast, Too Furious was, and they go to Tokyo Drift, and it's like, oh god, this was another bad one, this sucks, versus, like, hey, this was actually better when you just right after watch Too Fast, Too Furious.
I think what worked for me was that it was silly. It was very stupid, very silly movie, but
Yeah.
it was fun. Like I was able to laugh. I feel like I was laughing with the movie almost more. Like
Okay.
I was having a better time at the ridiculousness of it.
You
know what I mean?
liked the villain in this one.
I did.
Okay.
TK is a fun villain to watch. The TK, which stands for Drift King, guy that like shows up at the parking garage and just drifts his ass all over the main character. What's his name? Sean?
Who even cares? No, it's not. It's not
Generic-
John.
Generic white guy, like generic
Sean.
Sean. You were close.
Generic-
A high schooler who really looks like a college kid.
Yeah, he looks like a high schooler. He looks like he's in his mid-20s, but whatever. It's
I mean, it was probably played by an adult. Let's call it what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, no. We looked up his age. He was like 25 at the
Yeah, okay.
23, which is pretty standard. But like,
Yeah.
he looked old to be. He looks pretty old to be passing for 18.
Yeah.
Anyways, DK drifts his ass all over this guy at the at this parking garage, and it is hype. Like he has this whole entourage. He just has this mean mugging face that he just looks like he knows what he's doing, and immediately I'm buying in. Like, all right, we need to take this asshole down. Like, I want to punch this guy's face. We want to drift him out of the fucking sky. All right.
You
So I
had.
will say. Oh,
Go. No, all you.
So what I was going to say is that unlike Too Fast, Too Furious, and even Fast and the Furious, which had these plots of either an undercover cop trying to bust a ring of thieves or an undercover
TV
cop
players.
trying to bust a drug kingpin, Tokyo Drift doesn't really have a plot. The setup is this high schooler gets into one too many car accidents because he's stealing these cars, and he's either
Right.
going to go to juvie or he has to go live with his dad in Japan, his estranged father. So he ends up going to Japan, and I wouldn't say this movie Big Trouble Little China-'d it, but he's just kind of there going from set piece to set piece to get to more car racing.
Right,
Yeah.
Right.
There is no driving plot. He's in Japan, he sees the racing, he makes some friends who have car connections so he can get behind the wheel of the car, he gets his ass handed to him by DK, now he's embarrassed, he's like, I'm gonna learn to drift. And that's the story.
the
There
plot.
is no we have to plot or anything.
The final act throws the Yakuza in there. It's so
Yeah, because he needs to bring honor to his family, and his grandfather apparently really cares.
I mean, haven't you heard the term Deus Ex Yakuza?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Boom!
Barely. But even that's not really
Gotta be Yakuza.
a driver of the plot. It's you've embarrassed us, met the family enough to, like, one too many times, get your act together, and like the finale is the DK, his grandfather is in the Yakuza. I can't say it.
Yakuza.
Yakuza.
Yakuza, And, he gets showed up a bit. He looks kind of stupid. And the grandfather's like, okay, you guys are going to do a race, and whoever wins can date this girl.
Yeah, right. They put the love interest as, like, the bet.
The bet.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a girl who's like, my reputation is questionable, so I'm dating this guy, and if I don't date him, everybody thinks I'm a whore. And it's really stupid.
Yakuza, she's basically indebted to the Yakuza. It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's really stupid. But that's the finale. It's not like you have to get money, or you need to find the drugs, or you need to stop the bomb.
It's a love story.
You embarrassed my grandson.
Right.
So do one more race, and we'll see who really is like the king of drifting. The grandson loses. His car goes off a cliff, and in theory he should have died. And the grandfather's like, girl, you can date the American.
Yes.
What?
That's fine.
That's a wrap. Oh, no.
That's the end.
Not a wrap. The wrap is at the end credits sequence, they tease, what is it? Oh, we hadn't even talked about Han, have we?
No, we haven't talked about the best character in the franchise.
Yeah. So this also is going to be
Whoa. No. Best character in the franchise?
Yeah.
He's in the top 3 at least.
I'll give you top 3, but best?
I don't think that's a hot take.
Han?
I think I've heard that before.
Everything needs to revolve around Dom Toretto.
Dom definitely is up there.
We need to introduce who this character is. So in Tokyo Drift, the American teenager, Sean, after he totally fails at drifting because he's never had to do it before, this Chinese guy named Han is like, I will teach you how to drift. By the way, I have a lot of money, I'm pretty aloof, and I got great hair. His hair is fantastic.
And I'm gonna die.
Han and him become really good friends, and things kind of go south with the Drift King, DK. There's a really great car chase sequence, and Han ultimately dies.
Yep. So it seems.
His loss was, we felt that, because he was, by far the best thing in the movie. And then at the end of the film, after Sean becomes the new Drift King, and he's got his trophy girlfriend, the credits go, and then, they're in the garage, and a car pulls up, the window rolls down, and there is Vin Diesel.
Yeah, what was it? They said,
yeah.
He says he knows Han. He says he was like family, and then as soon as he said family,
family.
And the end credits ends with them getting ready to do a race. We don't know who would win, but naturally Dom. Yeah. And Han, in my opinion, so far is my favorite character in this franchise.
That's fair.
He's got great hair, and later he sleeps with Gal Gadot.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I mean,
fucking
he does.
Babe.
Damn, he does. Okay.
We'll get there. So
okay.
Tokyo Drift. The dark horse, but at the time was our favorite.
Yeah,
which brings us to Fast 4.
Let's make Fast 4, Fast 5, and Hobbs and Shaw fit into a 5 to 10 minute chunk.
No. We'll keep it brief because honestly, I think Fast 4 I don't really have any feelings on. It was kind of fine. That was okay, cool. It's the big movie where Brian and Dom are back together again, and there's this.
Did you say Ryan?
Ryan.
Oh, okay.
Ryan.
I heard Ryan at first. I was like, did you just call him Ryan? Are we just calling him the wrong name on purpose now?
Yeah, whatever.
We just call Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Yeah, Paul Walker. Whatever. It's supposed to. The whole entire first half of the movie is this whole tension of oh man, they're on the opposite sides of the law, and Brian wants to, help out Dom, but he also wants to be a good agent, so he needs to bring Dom in, and he's trying to lessen his sentence or whatever, and it's just meh. I don't know. There's
too long for them to team up.
Yeah.
A lot of this one, they basically pretend that Too Fast, Too Furious and Tokyo Drift never happened.
Right.
Fair.
In a way, they essentially hit the reset button, and it picks up with Dom coming back into town. Because Letty, Michelle Rodriguez's character from the first film, has been what seems to be murdered.
Right.
He's on a revenge quest.
What seems to be, I guess, with the
Paul Walker's character is on the other side, being with I think it's the CIA. I don't remember who they are this time.
It's the CIA. Yeah.
It's the CIA. He's been recruited by the CIA to help bust another drug kingpin, who it turns out has ties to the probable murder of Letty. So that's why Dom and Brian don't really team up until the last third of the film, because Dom's like, no, I'm gonna do this on my own, and Brian's like, no, let me help you. It's It's fine. This
Yeah.
is the movie that introduces Gal Gadot's character.
For a hot
Which
second,
is-
I did not expect her to show up.
Yeah, but she comes
Giselle,
back.
she's there.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, if she comes back, it's great. But
I like Moody Dom. Like,
yeah,
Moody
she was
Dom.
on
the
her Revenge
best
Quest,
scene in the movie was, Jill alluded to it earlier, the best scene is when we find out that Dom actually has Sherlock Holmes powers, and, like, he drives the scene where Letty was supposedly murdered and, like, pieces together exactly what happened with expert vision about, oh, this is where her car flipped over, and it flipped over exactly 4 times before it landed on its head, and then, yeah, it's just so silly.
God damn, I'm gonna have to rewatch these, aren't I? Because I slightly remember it, but not completely, and it's just been a while.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm happy to see Vin back.
Yeah.
He was
It
a lot of
sets
fun.
up the pieces nicely for 5.
Yeah,
That's the best thing I can say about 4.
Yeah, it
Fair.
feels like a transitional movie. It's fine. Not really my favorite, but it was okay.
Which brings us to
5.
5.
Fast 5.
Fast 5. So 4, as I said, just then sets up the pieces for Fast 5. Fast 5 starts off, well, slight spoiler, Fast 4 ends with Dom almost going to jail again, but Brian and some other
finally
characters
back.
were going to bust him out.
Yeah.
So Fast 5 picks up with them trying to save Dom from going to jail, and it's a really great set piece. There's a good car chase at the beginning, and then it cuts to them in Rio, right? They're in Rio.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
have to go and hide in Rio.
They go to Rio. Brian's on the run. They meet up with some familiar faces from the first film, and the solution to their problems is we're gonna steal some cars and sell them. We're gonna make enough money, and then we're gonna live our lives. We don't really know what happened to Dom at this point. They do the crime. They
Okay.
jump on a train. They steal some cars. Things go sour very
I remember
quickly.
the train, yeah.
Dom shows up. It's a great moment.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
people die, and Dom and Brian go off into hiding because they've now pissed off this crime lord, which then, because of these events, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character, Hobbs,
Hobbs.
brought into the movie.
Hobbs.
Because cops died, and no, Hobbs can't have that.
No
So
cops
he's
dying.
on the case.
And so he's supposed to be like the hard-boiled cop that's like...
The cop hunter. Or the killer. He's like the bad guy hunter.
Dwayne
Yeah,
The Rock
yeah,
Hobbs.
There it is.
The Rock Hobbs.
Yep.
Yes.
And my god, is he sweaty.
He's extremely sweaty. Like, they, added sweat to him. They had
He is
to.
very glistening.
And what's striking is that, similar to Paul Walker, you can definitely tell that The Rock, even though he's been in a lot of movies at this point in his career, he's still working as acting coach. Right now, I would say Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a fun actor. I like seeing him in movies, including in Hobbs Shaw. I think he's fun in that movie too.
He's
But,
found his rhythm.
You can tell that he's not quite the thespian he is today.
Yeah.
With the
Good word for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a little rough.
Yeah. So I will say that the real driving plot of this movie is after they've pissed off this crime lord in Rio, they decide that they're going to steal money from him, and they'll be set for life. And I didn't know it at the time, but the crime that they decide to do is basically the plot of The Italian Job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I have now seen.
The Italian Job.
Very good.
If I could sum it up in my thoughts in succinctly about this movie is that it was fun, but it made me just want to watch The Italian Job, which we did. Basically, this is it felt like a knockoff of that almost, I don't know.
See, I'll say that the Fast 5, the safe scene, was probably one of my favorite pieces of this whole movie series.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's just nice to see to pull off this job, they have to bring in all these familiar faces from
Right.
the franchise.
Right.
And that's the payoff.
Yeah.
That was the payoff.
Yeah, I
This
agree
is
with
the
that.
first movie that rewards the fans for watching all of these other movies.
Right.
Like, it's an ensemble cast. It almost felt not quite Avengers-esque, but kind of that level where it's like, oh man, all these characters are back. Han's back. Gal Gadot's back. Tyrese is back. Let's go.
Ludicrous.
Better hide your baby oil.
What's that?
Better hide your baby oil.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so Fast
That's
5
not five,
was a
what?
lot of fun. I think it was probably
I don't
15
remember.
minutes too
Might be
long, so they had to
6.
set some things up. But it really, the payoff of seeing all these characters come together and play off one another, the heist, when they actually finally pull it off, is great. Though, knowing what we know now and having seen Hobbs and Shaw, the first 4 films are still really tied to These films are about street racing and essentially car porn.
Yep.
This film is the first one that had no car racing. There was a few moments where it was like, we're gonna go, let's race. And they get close to the car and then something happens and they stop.
Mm-hmm.
From here on out, these films go from being about street racing to pulling, like, heist films, but with cars is my general understanding.
Or CIA or whatever, yeah.
I'm not sure where we're going.
We're getting close to superhero films now.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna miss the street racing. Like, I think that's why Tokyo Drift is one of my favorites, is because that film did away with the plot completely and was all about the street racing.
That's fair.
Yep.
We've kind of talked about Hobbs and Shaw before on this show. So we'll drop that one. Overall, where you guys are at, where would you give it 1 through 5 stars? The whole Fast and the Furious series to where you're at.
The whole package?
Yeah, the whole package.
I mean, we've never walked out of one of these, not from the couch, and said, wow, that was a waste of time.
Yeah. That's fair.
So we can't, it's not going to be like...
There might be one of those
5,
later today.
Like 3.4, like 3.5?
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna go at like a 2.5, because it's just right now my biggest problem with the Fast and Furious is that I'm getting inconsistent enjoyment out of them. You know, like two Fast and Furious is a real low, and the fourth Fast and Furious is not as fun for me either.
Right.
I think overall I'm glad we're watching them, but it's I don't know, probably about 2.5 busters out of 5. 2.5 buster.
I say 3.5. Like, I enjoyed the set pieces. 2 really is not as good upon rewatch.
Break my heart.
Same qualms about just Fast and Furious. It's just really inconsistent.
I don't like Fast and Furious, so I'm on board with that.
I care about these characters now.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. You're right.
I love Han.
But
So.
I'm invested.
Yeah.
We're gonna watch the rest of them. I'm excited.
Well, and the good news is you really only have one bad one of the 3 left.
Wait, there's a bad one in the future films?
Right. I thought we were in the clear.
I think there's a bad one.
What's considered the bad one?
Yeah, Jesus.
Okay, well, I guess my opinion. I didn't care for 6 that much.
Okay.
That's the next one.
Yeah, and 7 and 8. 8 is okay. It's just
that's the last Paul Walker one, right?
7 is.
7 is, yeah.
7 is my favorite of them all. So it's giving away. So 6 I think is bad, but not terrible. Like, I still enjoyed it, and I think if I were to rank all of them, it'd be just more in the middle or like half bottom, you know.
Yeah.
Versus like 7 is the top. So you're in for some good ones, and then like 8's middle of the road.
I think it helps that we're firmly in. I think Justin Lin directs. Oh, he didn't direct Fast Furious 7, but like now we're finally with a consistent director, so at least there's a direction there.
Know what tone they're going for now.
Yeah.
To close this out, I would say I absolutely understand how this franchise has persevered since the first one came out in like 2000, 2001.
Right.
It's hokey, it's campy. The cars are...
It knows what it is.
Cars. Yeah. The car racing is really great.
Yeah.
It has some abominable CGI at sometimes, but
of course.
You know what? If you like a high octane experience where you don't have to think too hard and you might be a bit of a diesel head, seeing these movies on a big screen, oh my god, that would be such an experience.
Yeah.
So,
see it in IMAX. Get the sounds too.
I would watch Tokyo Drift in IMAX.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right, that'll bring us to Mitchell. Mitchell, what did you watch for this podcast here?
So I guess I would say the closest tie-in that my movie has with the Fast and Furious franchise is actually with Tokyo Drift. So Andre, buckle up. You actually might like this one. So I'll say this. Over quarantine, my definition of what a movie is has definitely broadened, right? Yeah. And we're at this point now where streaming services have become the haven of places to watch new things. And obviously documentary series have become kind of one of the big things to watch. And for me, something that just came out within the past week on Disney Plus, it's Marvel 616. So it's an 8-part series. Every part is its own thing. There are 8 mini documentaries, are about 40 to 50 minutes each. And they opened it with basically, so the whole concept of the series is talking about real-world culture based around Marvel characters.
Nice.
So the very first one that they get into is the Japanese Spider-Man TV show from the 1970s.
Oh, all right.
It is absolutely bonkers. So there's no Peter Parker. There's none of this, right? So I took some notes here. So it aired from 78 to 79, 41 episodes, and a movie. And how long is the movie? 24 minutes long.
That's a movie?
It was released in theaters, and they still called it a movie, even though it was shorter than most of the TV shows.
Yeah, seriously.
So
what?
everything about this is bonkers. So the short story is this. So Marvel publisher from New York wanted to sell the rights to Spider-Man overseas somewhere, and he decided to go off and go to Japan. So here he is running around trying to figure out, who to sell the rights to the Spider-Man character to. And he realized that when he was going to all these different publishers, the Japanese comic book readers, so basically manga readers, they were not into American comics because there's too many words. For manga, it's much more visually driven. And for a character like Spider-Man, where a lot of his character is what he says and his quips, there's just too many words to take in. So he realized that if they were going to sell this character to someone, they would totally have to revamp. And that's exactly what they did. So eventually they came upon a TV production company that specialized in children's media. And they're like, all right, we got this character. He crawls on walls. Here's his costume. Are you in? And they said, yes, but we're going to do something completely different. So the only thing that you can recognize from this show, there's no Aunt May, Uncle Ben, none of that. You would just recognize the costume, and that's pretty much it.
Interesting.
He doesn't even live in a big city because it costs too much money to film in Tokyo. So a lot of this is set in
I'm literally looking up Google. I've seen Japanese Spider-Man before. I know what the costume looks like, but I just Googled just to look at Google Images. There's Spider-Man holding a goddamn gun,
Is this the one that he has a giant mecha?
Yes.
Or is that the okay.
Absolutely. So one of the things that they wanted to change, because they knew to sell this to a Japanese children's audience, that at the time and still now I would argue, that robots are a huge deal. And they sell a lot of toys, which is kind of the story for all of children's media success. If you can capitalize with it with toys, then you're in the clear. So
just look at Power Rangers.
Yeah, so the backstory for this Spider-Man, he's not bitten by a radioactive spider. He doesn't have a crush on Mary Jane. This guy is a motocross stuntman. And so his father studies space archaeology. That's like his title. And in the pilot, his father investigates a UFO crashing in the middle of this canyon. When he gets down there, he gets killed. So the guy who eventually becomes Spider-Man, who's his son, goes down there and finds his dead father, and as he's mourning, he sees someone in a cave, goes into this cave, and it's this alien who has the power of spiders. And he's just like, yo, man, I'm here because there's this bad guy who wants to take over the world. I'm trying to stop him. I'm too weak to stop him, so I'm going to need you to, carry on my fight.
Do your thing.
Yeah. So and the other guy's like, what? And then before you know it, homeboy gives his blood, his spider blood, to the guy who eventually becomes Spider-Man. So it's not a radioactive spider, it's a dude giving another dude his own blood, which I'm sure has a lot of medical issues. So anyway, so along with the spider powers that he has now inherited, and it's more of like Inspector Gadget level stuff, because he has like a wristband, like a singular wristband that carries all his webbing and stuff. Which is rope, by the way. It's a very thick rope. They're not even pretending that it's webbing.
Okay.
And he also inherits this alien's ship, which is called the Marveler. So a little nod to Marvel. And the Marveler, when this guy's in a position where he's fighting a gigantic kaiju, which is like every episode, will turn into this thing called the Leopardon or Leopardon. Yes! And it looks just like you would expect. Voltron, Transformers, anything from Power Rangers, basically the visual cues for all of those things started with Leopardon. And the main villain is not Green Goblin, it's not Doc Ock, It is a man named Professor Monster.
Professor
Oh,
Monster.
Professor Monster, but get this. So the reason why they chose Professor Monster.
Okay.
So in the Japanese language, they stylized the name by saying Professor in Japanese and Monster in English. So
Okay.
it sounds like a mix of two languages, and
Yes,
they
love the puns.
they loved it, and they thought it sounded cool to little Japanese kids because monster. It doesn't sound goofy; it sounds
No.
cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is basically a glimpse behind of basically how they completely converted this character for a Japanese audience. And the big part of this documentary, they're interviewing all the people who are part of it, and they're like, "Yeah, we're making on the cheap, but we're getting a lot of success." And then finally, the bigwigs at Marvel, including Stan Lee, they fly over to Japan to give it their blessing. They watch it in some conference room in Tokyo, and after it's all done, everyone's sweating bullets. The people who worked on this, and they got a sense in the room that no one from America liked this, and they were right, except for one person who stood up and said, "I like it." Stan Lee.
Stan Lee!
Hell yeah.
Stan is the guy who said, "You know what? For the first time ever, I felt like this was a living comic book."
Nice.
And there is nothing that we had seen from live action American Spider-Man that would hold a candle to this, because this Spider-Man was actually climbing on walls. They did all of the stunts in a practical way. So when he was scaling up a building, there was a stunt man climbing up a building with some strategically placed rope. So a lot of the stunts were practical. Most of it was, I would say. And they didn't go cheap in terms of, well, it was entirely cheap. But they tried to get the most practical effects, action sequences as possible. And that's what Stan loved the most. And he understood that the changes that were made were necessary to sell it to
They
an
made
audience.
the necessary money appear for the
That's
things.
cool because
Yeah.
so that to me shows that Stanley wasn't so precious about his own creation that any sort of changes, big changes they had to make to the character, he was still cool with. It still worked.
Absolutely.
Especially
So
Spider-Man.
if has anybody else read Ready Player One in this group?
I did not read it. I
A
only saw the
long
movie.
time ago, so don't... Yeah.
I love this book. Leprechaun is in the book, makes a cameo. Stuff occurs, and at one point, all the main characters, they get little toy robots, and they have a huge selection. So if you're into mecha, there's a lot of names getting dropped, and a character picks up Leprechaun. I think it's Wade, the main character. I think that's the one he picks.
Oh. Nice.
But there's a little Easter egg in the book Ready Player One where that gives Leprechaun a shout out. That's why I asked. Is this the one that has the robot?
I knew Leprechaun sounded familiar, but like I said, it's been forever since I read Ready Player One. So
I think I want to hate rant for why I despise the movie.
So this is a movie that has a legacy far beyond its run. It was only on Japanese airwaves for about a year, and the whole stipulation for Stan Lee and everyone else giving their blessing to this is that this would not see any audience beyond Japan forever in their mind, right? And of course, technology changes, and people's curiosity for their favorite characters change, and eventually Marvel released all of these TV shows and the movie, quote unquote, on Marvel.com back in 2009. So that was the first time, at least in a legal way, that American audiences could watch the Japanese Spider-Man.
Nice.
And the legacy that it holds, the show was canceled not so much for the lack of success, but the production company that put this on realized, well, the real big hits here are the robots.
Right.
And they started to develop more shows around that. Marvel took that same cue, and they decided to make more comic book based robot stories, and eventually the big hit became Transformers. And that was a big partnership with Hasbro, obviously. But if you look at Japanese what's up?
Sorry, I'm just looking at. So yeah, this was developed by Toei.
Yes.
Toei's huge. So yeah, okay, got it. That makes a lot of sense because yes, they basically started the giant robot genre, as it were. So yeah.
Absolutely. So they completely went into the right direction, and you could see the influence everywhere from Power Rangers. I would argue a different anime also took influence from this, like Gundam. So the legacy of this short 11-month run is huge. And for those who are really into the Spider-Verse, they have confirmed possibly that this Japanese version of Spider-Man will make an appearance. So
Yes!
that will be very cool.
Spider-Man 2099. We got this Japanese Spider-Man. I love it.
So I believe this is only the first episode that I've seen, but I'm considering it its own documentary film. I learned a lot. For those who love Spider-Man and definitely was into the whole idea that Spider-Man can be anyone that Spider-Verse put out there, I highly recommend this. It's under the Marvel 616 series. It's called Marvel 616 because that is the main comic book universe that the main comic book superheroes live in for Marvel. For those who are wondering, the MCU is Earth 199999. So there's the multiverse in play. The other episode that I have not seen yet is about cosplay. We have Paul Scheer leading one episode about hunting down the most forgotten characters in the Marvel Universe. We have writers and artists creating new storylines using the Marvel method, which is very famous. And then they have something called Spotlight, which is about people in black box theaters putting on Marvel plays. So
that sounds really cool.
Yeah, so it's a cool little series. They got 8 episodes so far. I'm going to call it a movie because this episode, and it seems like all these episodes, can stand on their own. And it's just one of the cool parts about comic book fandom that I saw as a young San Diego kid who went to Comic-Con every year. And now to see it put out on a mainstream platform like Disney Plus, I mean, 20 years later for me of going through all this love affair with comic books, it's just awesome, It's like
it's
I feel validated.
Yeah.
Like this fandom feels validated. So the Japanese Spider-Man first pilot episode of Marvel 616, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 spider ropes.
Spider ropes.
Spider ropes.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick aside, I feel like so this is not the first little Disney docu-series that they have put out.
No.
They have a whole number of them. There's the first one that I happened to see, and it might have been the first one in this series that they're doing, is just how the history of Disney World, Disney everything.
Yeah,
I can't remember its name.
The Imagineering
They're all
story.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Imagineering story, I think, is the one you're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. Yep, Imagineering story. If you guys haven't seen that one, I highly recommend it. They recently did the making of Frozen 2, which for a company that makes such important films, it's kind of shocking that they don't really have a lot of behind the scenes footage. It would be amazing if Disney did what Peter Jackson did for the making of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbits, and I feel like Disney's missing out on an opportunity. So if you haven't seen the making of Frozen 2, I highly recommend that. But it's great to hear that they're continuing to put out really good quality content on the history of either their original properties or the properties that they've acquired in the last couple of years.
Absolutely, and they've done a lot of great things beyond the Imagineering story. They've also done Inside Pixar, which is more of 15 episode chunks, but
that's new too.
That is new, and then they also did a behind the scenes look at the making of The Mandalorian, which is really cool too.
Which I've been meaning to see.
Yes. So
yes, that's been on my list too.
Disney's going all in on this, and I'm for it.
Yeah.
Nice. That sounds awesome. I mean, it's something that I realize I haven't done enough Disney Plus perusing because I haven't found some of this stuff. But okay, I guess that brings it to the bad movie of the pod.
Woo! What do you got?
The bad movie of the pod was Tsunambee.
B?
B. Like B-E-E.
Like be who you want to be?
No, like B-E-E, like stingy bees, it's it's a movie, yeah.
Is it a B movie?
It is a D movie.
Oh, it's a D movie.
Yes.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's
that really stings, Mike.
Oh my god, they even have that on the fucking poster. Don't do that. It says this one's gonna sting on the poster for Tsunambee. It stars no one you know. Which is a great start point. The beginning of the movie, you see this woman gathering sticks in what looks like a post-apocalyptic world. Jesus, easy for me to say. And, like, you don't know why she's grabbing these sticks, but she's just grabbing these sticks. And you're just like, okay. And then all of a sudden, title screen, Tsunambee. And it's these people that are, like, exploring a rainforest. And they see these gigantic hives. And they go, how are we going to destroy this whole species? And they're like, oh, we'll get the queen. And then the queen is pissed, and then they all die. So you're thinking these are the people you care about? No, these are not the people you care about. Then we go to a guy waking up from a dream where his brother was shot by a cop. This dude wears nothing but yellow. He has a friend in yellow. He has a sister. They don't really establish a relationship. They might be sister brother. They might be together. Like, that's how creepy it is.
Got it.
But they all wear yellow because they are obviously in a gang and they didn't want to represent Blood or Crips, so they went yellow.
Okay.
All right.
LA is starting on fire because people are trying to get rid of these bees that are attacking everybody. So they decide they're going to hop in their car and they're going to go and get out of there so they don't get stung by these massive bees that are now forming into a tornado. No, not a tsunami, a tornado.
Okay, so the title's just there for the pun.
Yes, 100%.
I see.
Okay. They don't ever reference it because I was ready to finish my beer when they said, "Oh no, it's a tsunami!" Ah!
But they don't say it.
They don't say it. They say it
because there's a tsunami.
Right. Well, it doesn't take place on water, so it definitely isn't a tsunami, and it definitely isn't a tsunambee.
Oh God.
So where does the name come from?
They wanted the pun.
They just got the pun.
They did all of that for a pun.
Yep.
Right?
It got you to watch it.
No,
Mike.
it did not get me to watch
Yes, it did, Mike.
No, it did not.
Mike, this is a safe place.
I will shout out Real Good, Real REEL Good.
Okay.
You put all your services in there, and then you can see what you want to watch based on that.
Okay.
And you can do things like filter terrible movies.
Oh, great.
And so I filtered it, and this is like I in it a character.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the Boz. Mach 2.
Wow.
Mach
I
2
didn't
is
know
what
he
it's
had
called.
an acting career.
Yes,
Good
he
for
did
him.
have an acting career. It lasted 2 movies, I think.
I just know him for football. Okay.
Yes, and then there was like one with Randy Couture, and then there's like an Avengers movie that takes place in the Brothers Grimm universe.
Oh,
if you check out our Instagram, I posted the 6 of my favorite that I saw on there.
I love the Brothers Grimm, so I have to check that out.
You do not need to check that out because it's awful. And there's a second one that's worse that they go through time travel.
I see.
But they're called Avengers Grimm. They didn't even hide that they're trying to be a grim Avengers story.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. But back to Tsunambee. So our heroes, the 3 wearing yellow, one looks like Exhibit, one looks like Steve Aoki, and the other one looks like Mary J. Blige. And so I will call them by their names, but I may refer to them as the rap names because Steve Aoki is definitely Steve Aoki, even though he's not Steve Aoki.
So now I want to watch this with those 3 in the movie. See, that would be great.
No, you do not.
Are you kidding? Like X to the Z and Steve Aoki together, the UC Santa Barbara, bred son.
Well, so the issue Exhibit has one emotion throughout the film, and that's angry.
Is he angry because these rides ain't pimped out?
He is angry because his brother was shot by police.
Okay, that's probably more legitimate.
Yeah, and then when we see them, they're like traveling through this country, or like this country land, not like it's a different country. It's the country. It's rural area. Yeah. They have been stopped by 2 rednecks, who are just rednecks, and that's their character, and they have like machine guns pointed at them. And then the others are like replying back with like pistols.
Yeah.
It's a one-sided battle.
I see.
A sheriff comes and it's just like, Jesse, put down your gun. And Jesse is obviously the main redneck that we're going to not care about. And once he puts down his gun, all he does is become a wimp. Aww. Like the entire time now he's just like, I don't want to get stung by the bees.
That's it. Is it
That's his
accurate.
That's
portrayal?
his. Yes, this is his acting. This is what the director told him. This is your motivation. You don't
So
want
the
to get
loss
stung.
of the gun emasculated him.
Yes. So he is a modern day Republican.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Yo,
Hot take.
Mike
Let's go.
went there.
Woo!
From the back corner.
Damn. I didn't know we get some political commentary.
Hot take. You're welcome.
I don't know how hot that is. I think it's pretty spot on.
Okay. So they're like all like in a Mexican standoff against each other.
Yeah.
And finally everybody puts their guns away. The other redneck picks up the guns, put it in the back of the sheriff's car. This is important for later. So all of the guns besides the sheriff's are in the back of the car. And then they start hearing buzzing. And the sheriff's like, "Get to your cars!" And the rednecks, of course, have locked their doors. So they can't get into their car. Our guy Jesse gets into the car, but his buddy does not. And a bee, poorly CGI'd, attacks the buddy and kills him.
Oh no.
I know.
How poorly
Jesse's
CGI are
buddy.
we talking?
We're talking very poorly.
Like Birdemic
Yes.
level? Okay.
And this is what I will say about this movie. If this is what we got for the entire movie, okay, it's not going to be great, but it'd be so bad it's fun. If that's the movie we got. We did not get this movie. The sheriff gets this... Alright, so like the... I don't even know how to describe them. So our three wearing yellow, the yellow gang, drive off.
The yellow bellies.
The yellow bellies drive off. Jesse hops in the car with the sheriff. The yellow bellies get stuck in the middle of the because they run out of gas. But luckily, the sheriff and Jesse, who's a racist piece of shit, stop to pick them up. Well, the sheriff then, they're driving, and she accidentally stops paying attention and almost drives them off a cliff.
Accidentally?
Yes.
How does one accidentally stop looking at the road?
There was a bee or something, or she was distracted because, spoiler alert, she is the cop who killed the exhibit's brother. Because this movie needed to go Star Wars where everyone is connected.
I'm into that. I'm into family dramas.
Yeah, I'm down.
No.
It's kind of like Lost, you know? It all has a grander meaning.
Yeah, it's just like Lost. It
You guys
didn't
are killing
end
me
well.
with this. You guys are killing me with this.
We're having a good time. Keep going.
So after they get off the cliff, because they have to crawl out the windows, the car falls to its doom. So there goes all their guns except for the sheriff's gun, because it was in the back and they couldn't grab them all. They get to a meadow that they have to like get to a pipe to hide from the Tsunambees. And Steve Aoki dies.
You can't call them Tsunambees.
Right. Really they're wasps, so we'll go with Wasp-nado.
Wasp-nado.
They're not even bees.
There's not even bees, they're wasps. So Wasp-nado starts going to town on Steve Aoki. Mary J. Blige falls over, and for some reason she's spared.
She's Mary J. Blige.
We don't know why, but it's not real Mary J. Blige. It's just a girl that kind of looks like Mary J. Blige.
Mary G.
Wait,
Blige?
I need to say this. I need to say it. Do you think the reason she was spared is because bees can detect royalty?
No.
Ah.
No, they go into why she was spared.
Wait, there's a reason?
There's a reason.
Are
Oh,
you sure she's not the queen?
there's a reason.
I can't wait to hear this.
We're getting to it. So at this point, it's like horror elements. That's what the whole thing is. They sleep in this like tunnel because they're like, okay, we'll wait until nightfall because these things are probably not nocturnal. So then we can escape to this farmhouse that we know is there. Why they're okay in the tunnel, I don't know, because the bees can just literally come in and sting them all. But for whatever reason, they're okay in the tunnel. All of a sudden, Steve Aoki's there. And Exhibit's like, oh, cool, I'm going to help my buddy. Steals the gun from the sheriff, who falls asleep holding the gun, mind you.
As you do.
So he steals the gun, and he walks over to Steve Aoki, and he's like, hey, you okay? And he's like, he's a zombie.
Whoa!
Oh! He's a zombie.
Does he have a stinger now?
No, he does not have a stinger.
Oh, okay.
Is he just a regular zombie?
He's a regular zombie, yeah.
Does he have wings? Can he fly?
No, he does not. I don't know if they intended for him to be a zombie, but he is
It
now.
sounds like a missed opportunity.
He is a zombie, and this never gets brought up again until after the movie's over.
Wait, what?
That they
So
become
it comes
zombies.
back in the post-credit scene?
There is a post-credit scene, yes.
Wow.
So it never comes back the entire rest of the way. They shoot him. They get to the farmhouse. The farmhouse, of course, has a guy that's just like, I'm going to protect my daughter from you guys and the bees. And he gets knocked out and tied up.
Babies.
Exhibit figures out that she's the sheriff that shot his brother, so he also gets tied up. There's a little girl who is like the daughter of the guy,
Of course there is.
and she finds out
Uh-huh.
that the reason she was spared when the bees came
Right.
was because she believes in God.
Oh no, it's one of
What?
those movies?
Wait, hold on. You just tell me that this movie has a religious message now?
This movie is a religious movie.
Oh!
Is Kirk Cameron gonna pop up next?
Nope.
Yeah, no, I'm expecting fucking.
They're,
I don't know.
they spend 40.
Chuck Norris.
They spend 40 minutes in this farmhouse talking about how if they have faith, they can get through it. And there's only one more bee attack that really doesn't kill anybody except for Jesse.
Because he
Okay.
doesn't believe.
No, because he leaves his friends. He gets in a car and leaves his friends behind. And basically they're just like, you were a douche, you die.
So this is the end.
Yes.
The Seth Rogen movie. And
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
But Mary J. Blige has a cross that you never saw before. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is why she was spared earlier. But Steve Aoki's a douche, so he died.
That sounds racist now. But so if you're wearing a cross,
Yes.
if you're wearing a cross, I've seen so many people wear those.
Yep.
Who are probably the worst people I've ever met in my life.
100%.
I see.
I've
Okay.
seen some good people. I've seen people on both sides that
There's-
have worn crosses.
There's good people on both sides.
Yes. But seriously, like I've seen people on both sides, but these people are not like great. So Exhibit, whose real name is JB.
Oh, you ruined it. It's not X to the Z?
It's JB.
Okay.
J is JAYB. It's not JB like initials, which disappointed me greatly.
Okay.
JB?
JB.
Alright.
So JB is like, okay, I need to get out of here because these guys are going to kill me.
Right.
And so he somehow gets the shotgun that the old man had, or like the father had,
Right.
and is holding it at the sheriff. Well, then the little girl shoots him.
Oh.
Wow.
And
She's
it,
not going to heaven. She's not going to
God
heaven.
and still commits gun violence?
Yep, and comes out of nowhere like,
This is in Texas.
no, this is in
Oh.
California.
Oh, fuck.
California?
The whole time. It's in, like, just outside of LA is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it sucks.
Wow, no, you never know.
You never know. So the sheriff and the little girl and Mary J. Blige are like, okay, we don't have a car. The bees are in the house. We need to get out of here. So they just decide to book it and run out. Mary J. Blige stops suddenly. The two girls are like stuck in the middle of the swarm, but they're not really stinging them.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Mary J. Blige's eyes go dark, and she just like opens her mouth, and the bees come from her mouth.
Whoa.
End movie.
That's how it ends?
That's how it ends?
Ends on a Candyman scene?
That is how it
That's
ends.
Candyman. Yeah, absolutely. So wait, so when is the sequel?
Never.
Okay. And then that's it.
Oh,
that ends my line of questions.
You haven't even gotten to the best part.
What's the best part?
Post-credit scene.
Do you remember the girl that was gathering the sticks?
Absolutely.
Yes.
She was not part of the movie at all,
Okay.
but she comes back in the post-credit scene,
Oh, great.
and the sticks are crosses that she puts in the earth for her dead friends.
Aww.
Cute.
Because religious movie.
I love
But
it.
why did Mary J. Blige have bees in her if she was religious?
We don't know.
I think
I
she
thought,
was.
I thought her belief in God made her immune to the
Nope.
to the beast.
No, maybe she's like a carrier of like the apocalypse because she's so devout.
I will
Her
say-
devoutness means she's worthy to be a vessel.
The
I think
movie
that's it.
started with the Revelations quote of the locusts like the locust shall
yeah.
swarm and death and blah 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 shall follow or something. It's something to that effect. I don't remember exact words.
Okay.
But there was a Revelations quote before the title screen, and it's definitely a biblical film, and not the.
I found a poster, and it says Tsunambee, the wrath cometh. So it does seem rather biblical.
Yep.
So I got your locust quote if you want it. The sun and sky were darkened by the smoke from the abyss, and out of the smoke locusts came down upon the earth and were given power like that of scorpions of the earth.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair.
But not bees. Definitely not bees.
Definitely not bees.
Because they couldn't do a pun with locusts.
Yep. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Tornado locusts.
Tornado locusts.
But that's my problem with this film is that like the beginning of it actually could have Sharknado fun. Like it could have been very like different kind of movie. But they spent 40 minutes in a farmhouse talking about how religion is what saved them. I don't care if you're religious. I don't care if you talk about religion or anything like that. I don't care because like you can do that right.
Yes.
This was beat you over the head with the Bible. Like, it is just whacking you upside the face. Like, hey, power of Christ compels you.
Yes.
Pow, pow, pow.
That's a plot twist I wasn't anticipating.
Yeah.
Also, maybe I missed something, but it also seems a bit hypocritical that they're trying to say that if you believe in God, ergo, you're a good person, except some people who believe in God do bad things.
Yeah.
Like, what about, like, religious zealots who do horrible things in God?
Well, and that's what I think they were trying to establish is that, like, the dad... So the dad runs with Jesse to the car, and the dad's like, I need to save my daughter because it's what's right. Yes. And so he gets, like, minorly stung in the back and ends up dying.
Okay.
And then that was the issue is JB then, like, Free shoots him in the face because he's like, I'm not going to deal with a zombie.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and so.
How big are these zombies? Like, I'm sorry, the bees, are they like, oh, okay, I'm envisioning, like, big ass.
I mean, they're gigantic. They're huge.
Like, big as a hand.
Big as a hand,
okay,
yeah.
But they're not, like, as big as, like, a car.
No, they're not as, like, big as a car, but they're big. I mean, maybe a little bigger than your hand, but, you know, it's like, they're still relatively, like, you can hit them with the tennis racket.
But they come in swarms, I'm guessing?
Yes, they come in swarms.
They come in tsunamis.
They come in tsunamis.
Apparently not tsunamis.
Well,
they're wasps and there's no tsunami.
They come in strong gusts.
They come in tornadoes.
Wasp-nados. Tornado wasps?
Would have been a good,
Ant-Man and the Wasp? Let's just watch Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Good question. I need to look up when this movie came out, but...
Oh, I got it. 2015.
2015.
Uh-huh.
There it is.
And to Andre's point, the original title was Tsunambee, The Wrath Cometh. That was the original title. They decided that was a little too strong when they tested with audiences. I'm just making that part up. And they shortened it to Tsunambee. Wow, 2015. Beautiful.
Yep. It's
fantastic.
And, like, the thing is, the CGI is horrible. But if, like, they just stuck with that the whole movie and it was just random people getting killed by bees in, like, the worst CGI imaginable, I could have survived with that. I could have had fun with that, especially because of how much drinking I did that night.
Well, I mean, it almost sounds like it had the potential to be like Tremors.
Yeah.
Like, if they didn't show too much.
Right. It could be stupid fun.
Characters. Yeah, stupid fun.
Yeah, and like the scene where they almost drove off a cliff, yeah, it was stupid, but at the same time, it was kind of fun to see how they were going to try to get out. Because it's a police car, so like the back is locked. And so like there was this whole scene of like, oh, are we going to get out of here or whatever. You know, the yellow bellies are stuck in the back. But yeah. Yeah.
What are we rating this sucker?
Stinger. Don't you
Stinger.
mean rating this Stinger?
Stinger.
Probably half a, I don't know, half a Bible.
Half a Bible.
Half a Bible of 5.
Wait, so is this the Mitchell Zero, or is this legitimately a half?
It's literally a half.
Okay.
It's better than Yoga Hosers, because Yoga Hosers just set out to make me pissed off.
That sounds like it.
This movie could have been fun, and, like, the bee scenes are fun,
Yep.
But it's just so much takes place in one location because cheap. And it's all done on shaky cam, too, that doesn't know how to focus.
Oh, thank you.
And so, like, it would literally be... All right, I'm going to show you guys because you're virtual. This would be the camera angle. Ready? Oh, my God. We need to get out of here. There's bees coming.
I'm getting some Blair Witch.
And it feels like they were trying for some Blair Witch like that, where it's like, oh, it's just their face in the corner. But it's literally they're talking to somebody else. It's just a talking scene. And they're like, ooh, I'm only half in.
That's a great angle, Mike. Love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is fun to do that way, because I can at least show you on a camera.
Yeah, no, I have a very visual idea of what this movie looks like now. Thank you.
Yeah, so there's some parts where they're literally like it's just cut off part of their face. Yeah. So yeah, I guess half a Bible out of 5. Better.
Just the Old Testament.
Yeah.
The
It's
Old
the,
Testament or like the Jewish Testament or the Christian Testament?
I guess the Jewish Testament.
Ooh,
The old one. Oh, the Torah.
God is a dick in that one.
Yeah.
I recently discovered that God is not a dick in the New Testament. Who knew?
No.
I didn't expect this to go down this road, but yeah, you're right. I mean, and I made 2 memes for this movie that I'm going to share with you guys after. I just wanted to explain it to you guys first.
This has to be going on the Instagram account.
Yes. Oh, it's totally going on the Instagram account.
I can't wait to see it.
Yes.
Don't forget to like and follow.
Yes, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, everything.
Smash that subscribe button.
Smash that subscribe button. Yeah, I mean, Tsunambees, it's a thing that exists.
It's a form.
It's on Prime. I highly recommend you don't watch it. And like, I was waiting for the beginning of the movie because I knew there was going to be like a cheesy title scene,
Yeah.
a title screen there.
Yeah.
And I was not disappointed. It was very much Tsunambees and like yellow on a black screen. Like, yeah, it's on the nose.
I get it.
Yeah, it's
I
on the
get it 'cause
nose.
of bees.
It
Yep.
needed to be a crossover with Bumblebee from Transformers to make it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I'm in on this
no.
idea. Let's pitch it to Michael Bay, and we'll see if he'll produce.
But he's not doing anything these days, right?
Yeah, he's just kind of around. I think he's doing like Netflix movies now, like on the real. I think that's what he's been doing lately.
6 Underground was him.
That was him. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. 6 Underground.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, 6 Underground's fine. Well, I mean, normally we get to this part and we talk about what we're excited to see next, but we still don't know when we're gonna see movies in theaters.
And I'll
But
say,
there is some exciting movie news that came out of late.
There is.
yeah, we all talked about it. Jill, do you want to tee us up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was recently announced that HBO Max is going to be releasing Wonder Woman 1984
Christmas
on its
Day.
platform. Wait, what?
Christmas Day.
On Christmas, I was getting there.
Oh.
On Christmas Day, HBO Max is going to be releasing Wonder Woman 1984 for the masses, free of charge, unless you don't subscribe already.
Yep.
It's a Christmas miracle. Our group of friends had recently were just talking about the streaming wars and all of that, and how can you kind of stand out to make a name for yourself? And I mean, for HBO Max, this is a great move.
We're swinging for the fences.
And you know what's next? You know what's next, don't you?
What?
What's next?
Well, if WandaVision does well, Disney Plus is going to release Black Widow on Plus.
I'd be interested to see if they do that. And
Yeah.
I think honestly, it's more if Wonder Woman does well, because for them it comes down to, and this is my only critique of this. As a fan, I love it. As someone who's really interested on the business side of things, these movies were meant and marketed to be sold in movie theaters, and they make a ton of money if they hit.
Right.
With the streaming service, you're selling this subscription for $20 a month, and that could cover 4 people, the size of a family, to watch this movie. And if that's the only thing that they're interested in, and HBO Max is one of my favorite streaming services. They have
They
have a great library of content. The Studio Ghibli films are on there, and then you got the Turner Classic Movies collection, including Citizen Kane.
Hashtag Dream Patrol.
All that stuff is there, and it's great. But if you can't retain those subscribers after this movie comes out, what was it all for? So I think I'm really curious to see if movies are actually going to make as big of an impact on streaming services as much as TV shows, where you have to stay for longer than 1 month because they come out episodically.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that pans out. But yes, as a fan, I'm so excited to watch this, in and around Christmas.
Right.
That's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Likewise.
I just would wish that, and this is an HBO Go specific problem.
HBO Max.
Or HBO Max,
Go.
sorry, yes.
HBO Go is dead.
HBO Go is dead. Long
Killed
live
it.
HBO. I
TNT stuff.
would hope that HBO Max would provide some HDR4 support. I'm kind of shocked that not shocked, but the biggest bummer about Wonder Woman being on HBO Max is that there's no way to watch it in 4K. If you want as close to movie theater quality experience as possible, I would hope that they would support 4K.
Okay, you made that comment. I was going to say up nerd, but you made that comment.
Yeah.
Yes, trying to match the theater experience. I get that. Yeah.
Right, and I realize that's it's very much it's still 4K is still very much a niche thing, but I mean, all these directors go on and on and on about how you can't substitute a movie theater for watching it at home, and I feel like 4K HDR would bridge that gap a little bit more. So
yeah.
I don't know, even like offering it as like an extra tier or whatever, but
you would pay extra for.
I would pay probably $5 extra for 4K HDR viewing experience. Yeah,
Andre,
not to shit on Disney too much, but if Mulan, which they released on their platform for an additional $29.99, I believe, so you had to buy Disney Plus if you did not have it, and then you had to pay an additional purchase. If maybe they had sold the film with an additional $5 to $10 up for film quality, that would justify the move. I think HBO is being very clever that they're not trying to put a premium price tag on Wonder Woman, unless that announcement is coming. I haven't read the press release.
No.
They did say that it's going to be free.
I think they learned from Disney. They get the benefit of coming second. Like the second cat gets the mouse kind of deal. So it's
second mouse gets the cheese.
Gets the cheese. That's it. So whatever the metaphor is there. But Andre, do we know if any streaming services provide 4K quality? Does Netflix even do that?
Netflix,
I think unless they make it in.
Right, I believe Netflix offers some sort, a handful of their shows support.
Chuck, any David Attenborough.
Okay, cool, yes, yeah. So it's a show-by-show basis, and you also have to pay a premium tier for Netflix, I believe, to even have access to those shows in 4K.
Gotcha.
Is that true, or is that what you're saying?
This is there's a whole list of 4K HDR
so I didn't make this up.
TV shows. Yeah, no, because I remember specifically they put out a David Attenborough series as an advertisement. Hey, you bought your new 4K TV? Watch this David Attenborough nature documentary. Super crisp, awesome, fuck you quality.
Is that what we're calling it? Fuck you quality.
Yes,
that's amazing.
Right. That's what they said in the commercial. They got David Attenborough to say that. Super awesome, fuck you quality.
Here we see fuck you quality.
I love it.
Some other cinematic news that's super exciting is the release of the Snyder Cut miniseries.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm not going to look forward to that. I really am not. I'm going to watch it, but I'm just not looking forward to it.
I'm not paying to watch it, so.
If you guys want to watch the Snyder Cut of Justice League early, there's this movie called Sucker Punch.
Yeah, exactly. Where is that game released? What?
HBO Max.
HBO Max? Okay. Yeah. I guess I don't pay for it already.
And what I've been hearing, and this is just the trades talking about behind the scenes stuff. So they had originally thought when the executives came up with, the Snyder thing, it's huge on Twitter and Instagram. Let's actually give the people what they want. So when they approached Zack Snyder with it, he says, "Cool, let's do it." Because of course the Snyder Cut didn't actually exist. So he's like, "I'm going to go back and I'm going to make it my own movie." And they're like, "Great." And then they started to realize as the process has gone on, not only is he taking things that he liked from the original cut and, sprucing them up a little bit, he's adding entirely different scenes, and essentially they're funding a new movie. Yeah. So they're seeing much more money than they had originally thought.
It's a terrible idea to listen to the crowd about this one. And I mean, it's worked before with Sonic, but, for this...
I'm curious. I think it's still going to be bad, but if it could actually retain a big audience for more than a month...
You know what I think? I think it's going to be worse than what we got.
I don't think it'd be worse.
I don't know. I didn't realize that... what I thought was that they had some unfinished material, unfinished footage, and they were giving him money to polish those up. I didn't realize that he went in with scissors and was like, I'm going to take these things and recreate the story I would have done along with adding new content. I thought it was just here's money to polish up what you had on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, that was the intent. And then apparently Zack Snyder has taken that as leverage to make new stuff. And I think, honestly, probably HBO is in on the joke, or maybe not the joke, but they're in on this because this potentially could help better set up more DC sequels.
Yeah.
That's what I'm assuming.
Right.
I mean, like, I think the best news out of this so far that I've heard is the fact that it's coming out as a miniseries. Because, as soon as I said Snyder, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be 3.5 hours. It's going to be long to watch through. But now it's 4, but in 4 distinct episodes. I feel like that's going to be way more easy to digest. And like Mitchell said, maybe I'm in on the joke too, because I still plan on. I'm shitting on it already without having seen it, but I'm going to probably watch it. I'm
probably going to watch it, and I'm not looking forward to it.
As someone who was.
Yeah.
I went with a friend and paid money to see the original Justice League. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about that.
It was you, me, and T-Dog, right? Was Mikey
went
there to see?
Yeah,
I was not there, no.
Me, Andre, and T-Dog went, and then we went to Plan B afterwards. And
that's right.
Honestly, after first watch, and I think I was in shock because, one, the viewing experience was bad for us. The theater was awful. The way that it was projecting on the screen was bad.
Shout out to Bow Tie.
Bow Tie!
Yes,
I was going to say it's got to be Bow Tie.
Bow Tie, I hope you do not survive the pandemic. I'm sorry. So, yeah, it's rough.
I'll sign their death certificate.
So, the actual viewing experience is bad. I came of it, and I remember thinking to myself, well, that wasn't as bad as Dawn of Justice. And upon reflection, I'm like, well, that may have been worse.
No, definitely. No, I was in agreement because I think I turned to you with a straight face and said I would watch a sequel of that probably, and make it if they with hopes that it would be better, but I would watch a sequel.
Yeah.
And on reflection, I'm like, wow, that was a train wreck of a movie. Holy moly.
Yeah.
I needed to digest it a little bit.
Okay, guys, we have overstayed our welcome in the lovely ears of our listeners, all 6 of them. Not T-Dog.
And me.
We have overstayed our welcome. We're going to wrap this one up, but thank you guys very much. I'm glad we get back and do this, even virtually.
This is fun.
We're looking forward to new episodes in the future, including maybe a holiday-themed one.
Absolutely.
We're talking about it. There's your teaser for next time.
Yeah, pour yourself some hot cocoa and sit back and relax. It'll be a good one.
Bring some eggnog with me next time.
Ooh.
So, for myself, Jill and Andre and Mitchell, this was Game for a Movie, where we ask, are you game for a movie?
Where's T-Dog?